It's time to focus on the things you need, the things you deserve. You deserve a healthy body. Supplements that get you moving and keep you moving. That make you feel good, look good, do good. And they shouldn't contain GMOs, artificial ingredients, or heavy metals, ever. Supplements that are clinically studied, use proven absorption technologies, are designed by scientists, and are ethically sourced and produced. Supplements with everything you need, nothing you don't. You deserve a company that you can trust, that's dedicated to safe manufacturing practices and third-party testing, that ensures the highest quality of effectiveness from extraction of ingredients all the way to the composition of the packaging. Wait a second. You deserve to see the process. You deserve a company led by a CEO with a deep belief in the power of people, dedicated to inspiring entrepreneurs to achieve success. A company with a phytonutrient chemist and expert on natural molecules who is obsessed with human health and has your best interest in mind to design its products. A board comprised of talented doctors from around the world. You deserve to be surrounded by people you trust and look up to. Empowered ambassadors that inspire wellness every day. Leaders who are rooting for you to be the best version of yourself. A community that works hard and plays hard. You deserve to experience adventures that take you around the world, and you deserve to be recognized for your hard work. It's time to get what you deserve. It's time to shift your focus. 3.
Hi, everybody. This is Linda Rogers, and I am so excited that you're all here, and I'm so looking forward for you to hear what we have to say today and to hear from our amazing guests. But first, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I live in beautiful Sedona, Arizona, and for the last 23 years, I've been a mortgage lender, but I just retired, and I'm so excited because doing over $1 billion of loan in 23 years was very, very stressful. And now I just get to travel the world and I get to hang out with all my three friends, and I get to do my three business from wherever I am. So I'm really, really excited about that. We have a very, very special guest tonight, and I'm so excited for you all to meet her. I've gotten to know Dr. Lena Gamble personally, and I consider her a personal friend, and you are in for a real treat. Lena is both a medical doctor and she has a PhD in molecular pathology. Hi, Lena.
Took me a second.
I'm so excited that you're here.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So Lena, you have such an interesting story and you're such an accomplished human being. And I was wondering, maybe just to start, give us a little bit about your medical background and your PhD.
Sure. Let's see, where do I start? I've been so excited about science and medicine for so long. I grew up with an interest in science and was very fortunate to be able to take advantage of several programs that were available for young people who were interested in science, and got to kind of dig in really deep at an early age. Decided I wanted to be a biomedical research scientist when I was 14 years old. And that's exactly what I became. So I went to medical school. I was at Tulane, and this is a very nerdy thing to say, but the nerds here will appreciate that I got bored in medical school. We were talking about the treatments for disease and what needed to be given to patients, and I kept asking the wrong questions. I wanted to know, how do we dig into the pathophysiology and interrupt the process so that we could prevent the disease and not just treat the patient? And so, yeah, that wasn't the kind of question to ask in med school. So I went on to do a PhD. I paused my med school, did a PhD in molecular pathology. where I was able to do just that, look at the disease processes and learn how to interrupt them with different types of targeted treatments. And that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it because, again, I'm nerdy. I know not everyone would enjoy that kind of endeavor, but there I was, living my best life, having a great time. Got the PhD, finished med school after that. My last year of med school, I ended up going on a missions trip. I was invited to just, go to Haiti. It was after the earthquake. And I was like, sure, I'll go. We ended up on the backside of a mountain in the middle of nowhere. We had crossed a river without a bridge. Um, and I mean, we were just out there with all we had to take care of these patients was what was in our truck. And I knew at that time when we got to that top of that mountain that that's the kind of place where I wanted to be. I wanted to be off the beaten path. I wanted to be as rural as possible with whatever I had available and the ingenuity God gave me to take care of people. And so there I was. And I came back, and instead of doing a surgery residency, which is what I intended to do, I went into family medicine on purpose, did a rural family medicine training program on purpose so that I could go and do missions in rural locations and take care of patients. And then fast forward a few years, I find myself extremely dissatisfied with our healthcare system in our country because, of all the problems that we can all delineate, right? So I decided that it would be most helpful to patients to be able to offer everything that we know is available. And there's more that is available than what we learn in medical school, right? So we have the natural options as well. So I wanted to be able to find out how to offer everything that we have to offer. And here comes three.
So that's really interesting because I know we've talked before and you said the one thing that they didn't teach you anything about was nutrition or supplements or any of that. So what was it about three, coming from your background and yes, really wanting to be a true healer and really helping people in really fundamental ways? What was it about three that made you that caused you to become involved? And what was your process for making the decision to become involved in three?
This is a very good question. It wasn't too long ago that I was in medical school, but it wasn't last year either. So the few years ago that it was, there wasn't a ton of information available about supplements and natural remedies. They were still a little bit taboo. It was just kind of a woo-woo type of thing that people kind of got into. The biggest problem was that there wasn't enough data, information, or science that was backing it that would allow us as physicians to comfortably support its use. And so that was the issue. Um, Fast forward to me joining three a year and a half ago, I realized that, when I very first heard about it, I was like, yeah, no, thank you. I mean, completely just brushed it off, not interested. And then I was told that, there's this organic chemist who had designed ways for these supplements to actually be bioavailable. And that turned my head because I was like, tell me more. I need to know what's going on with this. This sounds like something that could work. And we're now speaking my language if we're talking about things that are working on the molecular and the cellular level. And so, because I know the power of that, right? And so having these medications, or I'm sorry, these supplements that have been designed to work at the cellular level, and then having the research to back it up, right? There's lots of things out there, lots of claims being made, but there's usually no research, like at all, like none. There's no data, there's nothing that you can hang your hat on to say, this has worked in this population of patients at this dose for this length of time for these disease processes. Like that usually isn't present. And so to have information that shows, okay, we can actually get these supplements into the cell where we want them. We have the cellular absorption studies. And then to have the studies that show once they are in the cells, they're actually effective with our epigenetics studies. Like that kind of sealed the deal for me.
Well, and I know you didn't just read the studies, you read all of the references too, didn't you? I mean, you dove
Absolutely.
deep before you made your commitment.
Well, I wanted to be sure, first of all, like for myself, because again, I'm a little nerdy as they come. And so I wanted to know for myself about the integrity of the products, right? Do they do what they say they can do? Because I think that I've designed something in the lab that works, doesn't mean that it actually works. So does your research show that this thing works? Number one. So that was really important to me. But also as important to me, my reputation was on the line with
Sure.
my patients. And even more so than my reputation, like the fact that someone trusts me and they will literally do what I tell them to do simply because I'm their doctor. Like they won't ask me questions. And so, harboring that trust is a really big responsibility. And I wanted to be able to use integrity in my dealings with my patients. And so if I tell them to take something, it's because, I've done the research. So yes.
Yeah, well, and that's one thing that I think is so fantastic about you, Lena, is that your integrity really shines through. I was wondering, are these supplements really better than just taking the raw natural ingredients? And if so, why?
That is a fantastic question. I actually had this great conversation with someone the other day, and I'm being told that that they've got the raw ingredients, that they can get their hands on these organic ingredients that have been produced, and they're intending to take those. And I was like, that's fantastic. Are you including turmeric, for example, in your raw ingredients? Well, yes, it's such a great anti-inflammatory. It absolutely is. It's one of the best that we know of in the world. However, it's only absorbed at 10% in its natural state. And there are some things that we can use, piperine and, menthol, mentholated products, other things to try to have it absorbed more. But in a DIY fashion, right? If you're trying to do it yourself, in what ratios should we be using, the
Right.
turmeric versus the black pepper? Who
Well, and
knows?
isn't it true also that if you're not taking, as you mentioned, you're not taking things in the right proportion, actually, sometimes the things have no efficacy at all, but more than that, they can actually become toxic in our bodies. So having that, isn't that balance super important?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's a reason that it's extremely difficult for medicine to be a DIY effort, right? Because it's extremely complicated. Like the level of complexity at which our bodies have been designed is very difficult to hack on your own. Doing your own research on Google for 30 minutes, right? Like it really is not going to work very well. The difference with our products and doing it yourself with the all natural ingredients is that our products literally have 12 different cellular absorption technologies that have been designed to allow them to be absorbed cellularly in the body so they can be used. Now, you can't find that in another company. It is proprietary technology, and you can't find that in nature, right? If we can have turmeric absorbed or curcumin, which is what it's broken down to in the body, we can have it absorbed 3 times as much as it is naturally. Why wouldn't we take this fantastic, supplement that's been designed by Dr. Dan to be absorbed? It honestly, for me, it makes it easier. It's one less thing I have to figure out.
Right, right. And that brings me to another product that is also collagen, our collagen product. That
Yes.
collagen is a really big molecule and it's really difficult to absorb, right?
Mhm. Correct.
Um, and tell us a little bit about like, well, I think we all sort of know because collagen is everywhere.
It is.
And we hear it like, oh, it's great for your connective tissue and it's great for your skin and, all of that. But I wanted to ask you a really specific question about this. You and I both know people personally who have had tremendous results taking collagen and have seen, I mean, mind-blowing results with their plaque psoriasis. And I was wondering, like, Why? What is it about collagen, and what is it specifically about the collagen, that collagen product that we have, collagen, that make it effective for something like psoriasis?
That's a fantastic question. One of the things that I just learned is as I'm moving into this wellness space from the medical space, right? I've been literally studying medicine and science since I was 14 years old, and I've been studying wellness for like a year. So there's a little bit of a gap, and I'm learning as I go. And literally just a few weeks ago, I learned the difference in our collagen product versus other types of collagen. And I knew to say that we have this marine-based collagen and it is really helpful. And I didn't know what that meant. Like I didn't know the gravity of that until, some scientific article popped up on my feed a couple of weeks ago, and it talked about the benefits of marine-based collagen and why that's better than every other collagen out there. And I was like, oh, this is really impressive. It's absorbed better for one. Like on its own, marine-based collagen is absorbed better, even without all of Dr. Dan's fantastic, cellular absorption technologies. Just the marine collagen by itself is absorbed better. It's also sustainable. So that's really important as well. There's multiple types of collagen that are present in the marine-based collagen that are helpful because I don't want to get too deep into the science, but there's different types of collagen that your body produces. It is the number one protein in the body, but there are multiple types of it. And so there's certain types that are going to be in the extracellular matrix. There's certain types that are going to be in the cartilage. There's certain types that are going to be, there to support the joints. And these are all different. So having multiple types of collagen present in your collagen product is also very important. And then you get into the other benefits that are added by Dr. Dan's scientific team, right? So you've got, um, the hydrolyzation and the micronization and all these other processes that then are added on to the already beneficial marine-based collagen. So you have that, which is extremely important. And that's what differentiates ours from others, number one, with it being more absorbable for those reasons. But then we've got our epigenetic studies, which, show that our collagen is really beneficial in decreasing not just the markers of inflammation, because initially I focused on the markers of inflammation, like IL-6, those kinds of things. But one of the molecules that it does decrease is NF-kappa B, which is not just a marker of inflammation, it is a driver of inflammation. So it actually can drive the inflammatory process. And what we see with our collagen in our epigenetic studies is that specific molecule is decreased by 125%. So these
Wow.
types of diseases, you mentioned plaque psoriasis, you mentioned other immune or other disease processes in which the immune system is simply out of control. And you've got chronic inflammatory responses happening for years. Like these types of disease processes are affected when you can decrease the drivers of inflammation like NF-kappa B by 125% with our collagen product. And so I think some of the results we're seeing are from that type of response.
Yeah, and that study that you read about the NF kappa B gene being downregulated, that actually specifically mentioned things like psoriasis and other things as being that gene specifically being a driver of those kinds of diseases. That's amazing. So what about yourself? What have you noticed personally, right? By uh, by taking the not only the supplements but also the skincare, because gosh, your skin is beautiful.
Well, thank you for that. I do have to make one admission about the skincare. And this is a tough one for me. I keep intending to start the skincare. I haven't yet. I have to blame this skin on my parents. It is 100% genetic. I can't do anything about it. But I am very curious about the other benefits of our skincare line, right? Like they offer the world's first neurocosmetic, and I am interested in trying that out. So I would like to hear your testimony about the skincare. As far as the other products, I can tell you, oh, like I'm not quite as old as some of my friends. And I don't thankfully have, any chronic issues or diseases or any problems going on. And so when I first started this, I was like, well, I believe in the science. I can take care, I can share this with other people. I don't take everything that I give to my patients anyway, so it's fine. And then finally, I kind of bit the bullet, I don't know, a while ago now, probably a year ago. I was like, okay, I should take these products too, right? Just to kind of get an idea of what's going on with them. So I started taking the supplements, all six of them. And lo and behold, I felt better. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't consider that I wasn't feeling well already. But I mean, I had a pep in my step. I had more energy. I mean, I was knocking it out at the gym. Like I just couldn't believe it. And so I was actually impressed for sure with actually just taking the products. And literally it goes back to what we've been saying as far as giving our bodies what they need in a way that they can absorb. Right? We aren't getting all the nutrients and supplements that we need in the food that we ingest. Even if we're eating clean, even if we're doing everything organically, the soil is not able to produce what it did for our grandparents or great grandparents. And so not having that and then giving it to your body just makes you feel better. So
And isn't it great that that the three products are so easy to take? I mean, I can tell you, I used to open 30 bottles and, and then you'd run out of one thing and like, I just couldn't maintain it. And it's like they make it so easy to get everything you need.
yes, I do love that they're literally designed on purpose so that you have, in one or six packages, right? Like, discrete packages, everything that you need for your day. And for me, I do kind of split it up throughout the day. I'll take my Vitality in the morning, and then I'll take, my Immune throughout the day and my Purify. And if I feel like a snack, I'm having Eternel.
Yeah,
That's easy.
right.
And if I've
Yeah,
already had
when I get
Eternal,
that 3 o'clock kind of, it's like, oh, it's time to take some Eternal.
pretty much.
I'm going to be traveling a lot, and I
Mhm.
just love how simple it is to just, take the products. They're easy to travel with, and that's really great too. Is there anything that I've forgotten to ask you that you'd like to share?
Let's see. I think, especially as far as the science, like I could go on about the science all day. Um, I think the honestly, the easiest thing is just for people to try it, to just literally just give it a try. I mean, there's so many things out there that don't have scientific backing, that don't have a scientific advisory board, that don't even make sense sometimes, honestly. But people are trying these things and they're putting things into their bodies that are potentially harmful. And I would say, like, people can just give this a try. At least it does have scientific backing, right? You've got doctors and scientists who are vetting these things. We've got third-party scientists who are vetting, uh, and we've got, small batches are being tested, are being produced and tested. Every batch is tested. We can say that this is not white label. We're not pulling something off the shelf from Germany or from Switzerland or from wherever they're being produced and just throwing a three label on it. Like, no, we're producing it in-house. It's all made here in the US and we're shipping it, all over the world. We're growing our own plants. Like this is something that's worth trying. So
Yeah,
I would leave it.
absolutely. Well, Lena, thank you so much for sharing your medical expertise with us today and your story. And I guess one last thing I didn't ask was from the business perspective. I know the answer to this, but I'd love you to share it with other people. From the business perspective, why is building a great three team and a great successful three business so important to you personally?
Very good question. Thank you. I think for me, I got into this business because I needed to build sustainable residual income. I'd had the fortune of taking on businesses that built residual income very early in life, and I just knew that that was the way to go. They'd always been at smaller scales, the ones that I'd done before. I knew for what I want to do next, I would need a sustainable, robust residual business model. And so I decided that, I think this is it. When I looked at three as a company, right, I was like, okay, these companies come and go, right? They're here today and gone today, not even gone tomorrow. What is it about this one that's different? And I looked at the leadership and I looked at, their history. And I realized that the dream that Kim Wee had to build a legacy business and, the stellar staff that, from Dan Piku all the way down, as far as not just their heart and their integrity and their willingness, but their know-how. They'd all done it before. And that's what convinced me was the
Well,
fact.
I'm going to tell on you and say that I know that you want that residual income so you can really expand and really spend your time as a medical missionary. So I'm going to share that about you. Well,
That's true.
thank you, Lena. So we have two individuals that I really stellar human beings that I want to introduce to you and ask them to share their personal experiences with three. So Margaret, the first person is Margaret Christine from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Margaret, hi, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Great, so glad you're here. So tell us a little bit about yourself and why three and what your experience has been.
Why not three? First of all, um, I live here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I am a hairstylist by trade. Actually, last week, 43 years as a stylist. But in 2015, it took me into a different direction. I had a serious car accident that kind of put me down for about 2 years. And I didn't think I was going to be able to stand behind the chair anymore. And I had to figure out how do I do that. Um, so I went into education and consulting salons. So speed forward to 2 years ago, I was introduced to three. And I was like, well, what's this? Just another, another supplement and whatever. Nope. So 2 years ago, June to this month is my anniversary of starting with three products. So I started out with collagen, and I'm like, okay. And then I got the rest, and I started on those 3 weeks later. I'm like, when was the last time I had this energy? And I'm thinking when my kids were little. So I'm in my upper 50s now, and that was a while ago. And I had experienced that slowness, that not mental clarity or anything. But within about 2 weeks, I noticed that I had this energy that's just, and I'm like the Energizer Bunny anyhow. So this really kept me going. So I had this mental clarity and focus and energy. And then there was since that accident in 2015, I had been taking over-the-counter pain medication. Didn't work. It just kind of took the edge off, right? Well, the Revive took everything off. Let me just say, everything gone. I haven't had such relief as I have with the products, and I'm sure it's the collagen on top of everything else. But I no longer take anything over the counter for pain. I really don't have that discomfort anymore. Um, and I could tell that it's definitely improved where now I could stand behind the chair. However, I love what I do in helping stylists grow their business. And three kind of falls into that realm for them. So we have clients that ask for healthy hair. And what better products than 3 to bring that along? So I definitely am so thankful that this was introduced to me by Chip and Rita, who are in Kentucky. And I'm so thankful to be here. Yeah, I mean, and I love everything. And the skincare, get on it. Dr. Lena, get on that skincare. You're going to love it. It's definitely been a game changer. I mean, I've actually tried lots of cosmetic lines and skincare lines, and this by far is above them all in the results too. So that's it.
Well, I agree 100%. I love Revive and the skincare. I'm 70, and and I want to continue to look young.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your testimonial.
Can I
And
just mention one thing?
sure.
Margaret's saying that she's been doing the hair care for 43 years. She looks like 43 years old.
I know,
Very confused by
right?
her saying that.
Yeah.
So that's all I wanted to point out.
Thank you very much. And I really do owe it to the skincare and the collagen has made a big difference in the past 2 years. So I had my right thyroid removed in 2020. And that's why I started the collagen, because I wanted that scar gone. And it is pretty much almost gone now. And
Wow.
yeah. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
Well, thank you so much,
thank
Christine.
you. Mhm.
And next, I would like to introduce actually my dear friend and one of my 3 team members, Mindy McKenna. And Mindy, so great to see you. Mindy is from Idaho. So tell us a little bit about yourself and tell us, why 3 and what your experience has been.
Okay, hi everybody. I'm Mindy McKenna from Northern Idaho. And let me tell you a little bit about myself. So I am a wife of a corporate type guy and a grandmother of 9 and a mother of 4. And I just turned 60 this year. And so let's see. My husband retired early from work, and he was about 55. And we decided we were going to get an RV and travel all around the U.S. and go see all the national parks and drive all around. And it was so much fun. We did that for about 8 years. And then we came back home to Idaho. And my husband looks at me and he goes, you know what? I really want to do my dream I've always wanted to do, start another company with 3 of my buds. So he went off and did that. And I said, great, go ahead, go do that. That sounds like a blast, go. And so he did. Meanwhile, I'm back here at the little mini farm here in Idaho. And I'm at the grocery store talking to whoever will talk to me. And then I started building gardens here around the land and talking to the birds and to myself. And I'm like, what is going on? I started getting more and more depressed. It was like the old cliche, I'm in the garden eating worms. Poor me. I was in poor health after being in that RV for 8 years, eating whatever you wanted and no exercise. And I was pretty depressed in the garden. And the phone rings and it's Linda. Linda Rogers calls me up. Hey, what are you doing? And I'm like, hey, you really want to know what I'm doing? I'm in the garden eating worms and having a bite of chocolate right now. And she goes, well, what can I do to help you? And I go, I don't know. I really need something. I've done so many things. I've lived all around the world. I'm bored. My husband went back to work. What's there for me? She goes, hey, well, if you're open, I might have something for you. And I'm like, really? I'd like to hear all about it. And so she introduced me to 3. And I said, well, I need to get healthy. I want to try this. So I told my husband about it. We bought the large package. I'm going to start doing the business and figure this all out. And so we did that. That was about a year ago now. And my husband, he's the type that had really high cholesterol and high blood pressure. And my cholesterol is probably pretty high too. We were both really out of shape, not taking vitamins regularly. So we started taking the 3 products religiously for a whole year. And my husband went in for his blood work, had his blood work checked. went to the doctor, and she was saying that let's look at your what's on the sheet here and see how it's going. And she says, oh, look, your cholesterol's down to normal and your blood pressure looks really great. She goes, what have you been doing? You've been taking all the products that are the supplements that I told you to take, your from the, that she was going to prescribe. And he says, no, actually, I started taking these 3 products. And he goes, why? And she goes, well, your everything's lower. Your LDL, your HDL, everything's way down. Something's working here. And he goes, well, they're called 3 International. You need to check it out. They're in the PDR. And she goes, really? This might help all my other patients. I got to check this out. So he came home and he's telling me about it. We're doing high fives to each other. Yay. So now it's my turn. So I went in last week and I just got my results back. And she's like, wow, you're super healthy. Your bones are healthy. Everything's really great. Your cholesterol's normal, close to low, What are you doing? So I told her about 3 and what I'm doing. And she's like, I got to check this out. And I said, yep, it's in the PDR. And she goes, okay, I'm going to check it out. And we're going to talk more about that later. But look, guys, here I am. I'm doing 3 International. I have all this great new community of friends. Hello, everybody, my new community of 3. And I'm not talking to the garden or people in the grocery store all aggressively like I did before. And I'm so happy that I've revived myself here with 3, with a new adventure to go on. But one more thing I want to tell you about was the Visage serum. This stuff, when I'm actually in the garden and I got sores on my hand, I started using this and it's starting to heal it up very fast. So the serum also works on sores and cuts, not just your face. So that's me in a nutshell. Here I am, ready to go. Thank you, Linda Rogers. And 3.
Well, thank you, Mindy. And Mindy and I are going to Vietnam together because Mindy's been so successful. And so I'm really excited about that. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight. I hope you learned something. I hope this was value to you, and go get them.